A Million Styles Boxing. What's up, guys? Barry Robinson Jr. here. I'd like to say that the reason why we train everything is because there's nothing I ever tell you to do as a coach that's just going to go in the ring and someone's going to stand in front of you and allow you to do. So I can tell you to throw 1-2, a jab and a right hand. I can tell you to go in the ring and step forward and come strong with a jab and a right hand. But my opponent is never going to just allow me to do that. I want to give a quick example before I go into what we're going to talk about today, which is the different ways to throw a hook, a left hook that is, or if you're southpaw, right hook. One of those things is this. I've had coaches tell me, Barry, throw your jab like this. Nothing wrong with that. I've had coaches tell me to step forward with your jab. Nothing wrong with that. I've had coaches tell me to keep my range and just extend my jab. They like to call it jab extend, where I extend my front foot and bring it back to keep my range. So when that person lunges in, I can bop them with the right hand. Now, there's no particular wrong way to throw a jab. I can stand here and throw a jab. Now, one of the ways that honestly, I don't really want a lot of people to throw a jab is to just come forward. I'm just going to come forward and walk a person down with the jab. Because when I step forward, I'm giving away my range. And when I give away my range, I step forward with a jab. As you can see, just imagine it. I step forward. Let's say I'm a little careless with my jab because I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. Not all of us have WBC championship belts, which means we're not perfect. Okay? When you have an undefeated record and you have a WBC belt and your technique is... So no, not every time you come in with your jab are you going to be perfect and snap. You make mistakes. The point is to know in your technique who you're making mistakes with. Now, if you're just a fighter that trains only to step forward with your jab, what happens the time you fight a fighter that likes to counter over your jab with the big right hand? I step forward with the jab, give away my range, and I get killed with the right hand. So I'm not saying that that's wrong. What I'm saying is train everything. Train how to throw your jab from here. Train how to step left with your jab. Train how to step right with your jab. Train how to step forward with your jab, so that you always have an option. Okay, now, I wanted to talk about left hooks today, or right hook if you're southpaw. I've heard people say, oh, you need to throw your hook like this or like that. Now, most gyms teach to throw the hook one way, which is the palms in, which is correct, nothing wrong with it. Palms in hook basically is your palms facing you, facing me, thumb in. From here, I would just turn it over. It's a hip punch, so I don't need to go wide. Just turn it over, bang, short hip punch. Now, another way you can throw the same hook would be is if you're slipping the right hand, or if you wanted to generate a little bit more power, would be to turn your body and then come back with the hook. Now, my point's coming into play now. If you only learn how to throw a hook one way, which is this way, or which is to set it up like this, and so an opponent watches tape of you fighting, and he sees where your hook comes from, what are you going to do when he's expecting that hook, and you can't land it? Like, I'll give you an example. Jeff, left hook Lacey. We know it's coming, Jeff. There's no surprises. We know that you're throwing a left hook because it's your nickname, Jeff Left Hook Lacey. We know how you throw it. Now, let's talk about how many different ways you can throw a hook. So we know about palms in. The hook is here, short. Now, that's one way you can throw that hook. Another way you can throw that hook is short, long, medium. The only technique that doesn't change is your 90 degrees here, as much as you can. If you have to extend, it's still 90 degrees, still got my chin tucked for defense. If I throw it short, I'm here. Nothing changes. The technique doesn't change. But that hook doesn't necessarily have to be thrown every single time from a short range and just here like this. It's not going to happen. What opponent do you fight that you can say, hey, stop and allow me to throw the left hook I've been training in the gym? It never happens. Now, case in point, you have several other hooks you can throw. You don't have to be limited in your arsenal. Palms in. Palms down. European hook. Europeans, where I've been in Europe, I call it the European hook because most Europeans throw a hook like that. They throw a little bit of a loopy and they like to hit you with their knuckles here, coming down on your chin. They can throw that short. They can throw it long, they can throw it mid-range. Either way, they still turn their hips. There's nothing wrong with that hook. Nothing wrong with it. If you're given a situation where you're fighting a guy that keeps his right hand a little bit low, and he likes he's going downhill, guess what? He might be open for that loopy European hook. If you fight a guy that keeps his hand high, maybe he's not open for it. Which is great because that's fine, because then you have other hooks you can throw. Now, so we talked about palms in, we have palms down, we have the European hook, okay? Now we have stir in the pot, one of my favorite hooks. A lot of people say stir in the pot has no power. Stir in the pot is a speed hook. So if I throw 3 regular hooks, 3 palms in hooks, 1, I need to reset, 2, I need to reset, 3, okay? Stir in the pot hook's a little bit different. You literally stir the pot. Like you're stirring a pot of soup. You see the pot of soup underneath you. It's a speed hook. I don't really need to turn my body for this hook. Yes. Do you have are you limited on some of your power on that hook? Absolutely. Am I looking to knock guys out with this hook? Not really. Can I knock people out with this hook? Yeah. Okay. Stirring the pot hook works for several ways. You can throw it speed, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Like you see Roy Jones do, like you see some of the fighters that fight master technique do. I can also use that hook to set up the big right hand. So I could just be lazy, letting the fighter be aggressive, playing with this hook, and out of nowhere, right behind that hook, comes my right hand. I show it to you, right hand. Now, if you need to watch a fight to give you a reference about this hook, go back and watch a recent fight, Arthur Abraham versus Jermaine Taylor. Arthur Abraham merely slapped Jermaine Taylor with his left hook and finished him with the right hand down the pipe. Because you have to respect a punch being thrown at you. So you move that hand, you touch, 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 right up the middle, sleepy time. So there you have, stirring the pot hook. Palms in, palms down, European, stirring the pot. Quickly, a way for you to train stirring the pot. I'll give this one away. Last thing I'm giving away. Put your hand here on your rib cage. Fist here. Stir. Make sure every time you come back, your elbow hits your hand. If your elbow's not hitting your hand, your elbow's up. You stir the pot wrong. Your elbow hits your hand, stirs back to your face every single time. When you get comfortable with that, you can keep your hand up and start working on the bag. 3, 2, stir right, stir right, stir right. Okay. Another hook you can throw. This hook is a lot like a jab, but it's not a jab. Jab is here, right? The jab is here. This hook comes across. It's not a jab. It's kind of a half hook, half jab. So instead of me going jab here, I shoulder my jab, and now bang, I'm coming right up the middle here. Bang, and I'm coming at an angle and turning my hips. It's a little bit of a hook. It's not a jab. Right across. It's another hook you can throw. Okay? Another hook you can throw. You can hook and pivot out, also known as the check hook, very popular punch. You hook and you pivot out. Now, thinking about that hook, I can throw that hook many different ways. I can throw it palms in, palms down, I can stir the pot, long. I can just turn it over, short, it's up to me. Okay? So there we talked about several different hooks. There's at least 3 more I could talk about, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to allow you to figure it out on your own. I'll touch on stirring the pot one more time before I go, just to give you a little insight to stir the pot. Let's say you want to throw a combination of body, head. I can throw it fierce, coming strong, body and head, or I can speed it up if I want to, which I would stir the pot and finish with the head. If you notice, there's a big difference. I need to shoot here, 1, come back for 2, or I can stir into the power shot. So, you need to study everything, work on all your techniques, more importantly, watch fights. I don't come up with these drills on my own. I've trained them, and also watch fights. I watch fighters. I'm not going to tell you, don't do this, don't do that. I'm going to tell you to have options in the ring. And that's what A Million Styles of Boxing is about, basically. Thank you. This is Coach Barry Robinson Jr., A Million Styles of Boxing, signing out. Have a good one.